Stand up for Jesus, ye soldiers of the cross. Lift high his royal banner, ye'd never suffer loss. From victory unto victory, his army shall he lead, till every foe is vanquished, and Christ is Lord indeed. What a beautiful song. Stephen, in Acts 7, from about verse 54 to about verse 60, it tells us of Stephen being stoned. The Sanhedrins, they couldn't stand what he was saying and what he stood for, so they actually blocked their ears and they took him outside and started to stone him, and they stoned him to death. And I think we all know that story. And as he was being stoned to death, he was actually praying for those that were stoning him. And we see that story as one of the pillar stories of standing up for Jesus, standing up for God, because he stood up for what he believed in, and he was stoned to death. But I actually see it beyond that, and it's just me, is where he stood up for Jesus in a way of thinking, what would Jesus do? In the same breath that he was being stoned, he was praying for the people that were stoning him. And it's difficult to do when you are being persecuted, when you are going through difficult times, when you're going through hard times at the hands of people, or at the hands of someone, or you have a problem caused by someone. Can you pray for that person? Can you stand up for Jesus and pray for that person? Think of when somebody cuts you off on the road. Can you stand up for Jesus and pray for that person, that they, in all their reckless driving, but get to where they're going safely? Or someone at work, giving you a raw deal, giving you too much work, passing off too much work on you, not giving you credit for the work you're doing. Can you pray for that person? Can you stand up for Jesus like Jesus would do? Standing up for Jesus doesn't always mean that, these big things where, you're not able to worship because it's a law and you have to stand up and worship and you get persecuted. The little things as well is standing up for Jesus. And somebody says something bad about you, whether true or not, can you stand up for Jesus and pray for them? Today, let us make a pledge to ourselves that we would stand up for Jesus, like the song says. And even as I read the verses of the song, the words of the song, stand up for Jesus, ye soldiers of the cross. Lift high his royal banner. It must not suffer loss. It's not only speaking of the big things, it's also speaking of our everyday challenges that we go through, and we need to stand for Jesus and live and show the way Jesus would live. We are a representation of him, so we need to stand up for him. From victory unto victory, his army shall he lead. He will lead you, like the 23rd Psalm says, he leads me through the path of righteousness. He would lead you through these trials, through these temptations, through these situations where you're about to sin, and he will help you to gain victory. So let us pledge today that we will let Christ lead us, and we will stand up for him and make him proud in everything that we do and everything that we say.